The name Nestlé is among the most known and recognized, as it is the largest food and beverage company in the world. However, what you might not know is that behind this huge conglomerate lie some of the darkest practices in modern business history. Nestlé has been involved in unethical practices, from the exploitation of water resources and child labor, to the marketing of infant formulas that have led to serious health issues in vulnerable communities, with some consequences being particularly severe for babies. In this video, we'll expose why Nestlé has earned the title of being the darkest company in the world. Chapter 1. The origin of Nestlé. To understand how Nestlé evolved to become one of the most controversial companies in the world, we first need to explore its origins. It all began in Frankfurt, Germany in 1814 with the birth of Henri Nestlé. Henri, the 11th of 14 siblings, came from a family of glassmakers. His father, Johann Nestlé, had inherited the family glassmaking business and expected Henri to continue this tradition. However, Henri, who had shown an early interest in chemistry, decided he wanted to become a pharmacist. By the late 19th century, chemistry was not yet considered a fully established science, and it could not be formally studied at German universities at the time. Despite his father's intentions, Henri decided to move to Switzerland to complete his pharmacy training, which he finished in 1833. 6 years later, he became a pharmaceutical assistant, allowing him to conduct chemical experiments and sell medicines officially. During his life, Henri Nestlé had multiple jobs. He dedicated himself to selling oil, cement, mustard, and also mineral water. However, he was not satisfied with his jobs, nor had he managed to prosper in them. It was not until 1866 that Henri Nestlé made his big leap. While reading the news, he realized that infant mortality was at an all-time high because many mothers were unable to breastfeed their babies. From his experiments, Henri Nestlé developed an infant formula in 1867 called farine lactée, composed of milk, wheat flour, and sugar, designed for babies who could not be breastfed. This product became popular, leading to the founding of Nestlé and the opening of a factory. But Nestlé's innovations did not stop there. In 1875, Henri Nestlé, known for his innovative condensed milk, associated with Swiss chocolatier Daniel Peter to create the first milk chocolate. This was possible because Henri had perfected the technique of removing water from milk, resulting in a condensed milk that mixed perfectly with the cocoa without deteriorating. Taking advantage of this advantage, Peter used Nestlé condensed milk in his experiments, thus managing to develop the first milk chocolate available to eat in history. That same year, at the age of 60, Henri Nestlé sold his company to 3 other entrepreneurs. This marked a turning point in Nestlé's history because, despite significant expansion, the company began to lose the positive reputation for good practices it once had. In 1905, Nestlé merged with Anglo-Swiss and other companies to form the Nestlé Group, strengthening its market position. Adaptation during World War I. During World War I, Nestlé faced several challenges but managed to adapt, given the rising demand for products like condensed milk and chocolate. While this adaptation was positive for business survival, it highlighted a focus on profit maximization in a complex context. The birth of Nescafé. In the 1930s, due to a coffee overproduction crisis in Brazil, Nestlé developed Nescafé, a powdered coffee that offered the natural taste of coffee simply by adding hot water. This innovation, resulting from Max Morgenthaler's ingenuity, emerged when the Brazilian government asked Nestlé and Anglo-Swiss to find a solution for their massive coffee surplus. Nescafé not only helped address the coffee crisis, but also represented a significant advancement in the industry, providing an innovative solution during difficult times like the Great Depression. Nestlé's role in World War II. During World War II, Nestlé remained relatively stable due to its neutral stance. While many companies faced difficulties, Nestlé continued to expand and adapt. However, a major controversy was on the horizon. Chapter 2. The Baby Killer. In the 1970s, Nestlé had acquired several companies, strengthening its presence in the global market. But in 1974, the company would find itself at the middle of a major controversy. Remember that Henri Nestlé had designed an infant formula to help mothers who couldn't breastfeed? The problem began when, due to the product's success, Nestlé decided to promote it not just to mothers who couldn't breastfeed, but to all mothers. To market this product, the company employed aggressive tactics, claiming it was superior to breast milk. They hired women dressed as nurses to distribute samples of the formula, giving it an appearance of medical legitimacy. They also enlisted doctors to endorse their claims. The controversy came to light when a pamphlet titled "The Baby Killer" exposed the devastating consequences of this promotion in developing countries. The text highlighted how the aggressive marketing of the formula, instead of promoting breastfeeding, led to severe health issues of many babies due to lack of access to clean water and poor preparation conditions. The problem with this formula was that it didn't provide the necessary nutrients that breast milk did. In developing countries such as India, the Philippines, and various African nations, where sanitary and economic conditions were already challenging, the use of infant formula proved to be particularly detrimental. Moreover, mothers who could initially breastfeed saw a reduction in milk production once they started using the formula, becoming dependent on it to feed their babies. This is because breastfeeding works on demand. The more a baby nurses, the more milk is produced. Replacing breastfeeding with formula led to decreased milk production, creating a dependency that affected both the baby's nutrition and the mother's ability to continue breastfeeding, especially in vulnerable situations. The controversy not only damaged Nestlé's reputation, but also sparked a global movement against the promotion of infant formula and led to stricter regulations on its marketing message. In 1978, the company faced hearings in the US Senate and new WHO regulations. Despite the criticism, Nestlé continued with questionable practices in regions with less strict regulations. Chapter 3. Nestlé Waters. Big and controversial. In 2005, Peter Brabeck-Letmathe, CEO of Nestlé, caused controversy by declaring that access to water should not be considered a human right. His comments provoked media reaction, leading Brabeck-Letmathe to publicly retract. However, the reality of Nestlé's water practices seemed to contradict his retraction. Nestlé has exploited legal loopholes to obtain natural resources at extremely low prices, maximizing profits while minimizing costs. One notable example is Michigan. Despite Nestlé paying only $200 per year for the right to extract water due to owning the land, the company sought to increase the amount of water extracted from its well in the Great Lakes Basin. Initially, Nestlé was drawing about 946 liters per minute and wanted to raise this amount to 1,514 liters per minute. The company's proposal to increase its extraction rate faced strong public opposition, as many were concerned about the potential environmental impact on the Great Lakes.
What do you think Nestlé should do? Go home
to Switzerland.
More than 80,000 people protested the expansion, citing concerns about environmental impact and access to water for local communities. This massive opposition led to a more thorough review by the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, MDEQ. Despite the overwhelming public opposition, the MDEQ approved Nestlé's expansion request in April 2018. During the public comment period, more than 80,000 opinions were received against the expansion, compared to just 75 in favor. Despite this clear public disfavor, the state authorized Nestlé to increase its extraction to 1,500 liters per minute. Critics argued that Nestlé should not benefit from the state's natural resources while cities like Flint faced water contamination crises. Additionally, the price Nestlé paid for the water was only a fraction of its retail value, highlighting the company's disproportionate economic benefit. However, in June 2021, Nestlé announced it would sell its bottled water business in the United States, including the Ice Mountain brand, ceasing operations in Michigan. This decision came after years of controversy and public opposition. California. In California, during severe droughts, Nestlé continued to pump water from national parks at a rate of 1,514 liters per minute, despite the state's water crisis. Seeking more abundant resources, Nestlé persisted in its extraction, selling the water to Californians at high prices. Tim Brown, CEO of Nestlé Waters North America, stated in an interview that Nestlé not only would not stop extracting water from California during the drought, but would even increase the amount if possible. This behavior exacerbated the water crisis and drew strong criticism toward the company. But Nestlé controversial practices extended beyond the United States. Pakistan. In Pakistan since 2013, the company began diverting clean potable water from villages and towns to bottle and sell it at high prices to the same people from whom it extracted the water. This approach left thousands of people forced to consume dirty and contaminated water because they could not afford the costly bottled water. Nestlé's strategy was to deprive communities of a basic necessity like clean water, only to sell it back as an expensive solution, exploiting the situation for its own benefit. Africa. In Africa, Nestlé has faced accusations of extracting water from regions like the Air region in Niger, where local communities are concerned about the impact of depleting their limited water resources. Additionally, Nestlé Waters engaged in deceptive marketing practices by claiming that its bottled water came from mountain springs. In reality, some of the company's bottled water was sourced from wells and municipal supplies. But before we dive in, Chapter 4, let's take a moment to thank our sponsor, ClickFunnels. If you're an entrepreneur aiming to take your business to the next level, ClickFunnels allows you to create high-converting sales funnels with no coding skills required. ClickFunnels not only guides your visitors through the buying process with its intuitive step-by-step approach, but also automates follow-ups and email campaigns to keep your customers engaged, and offers customizable templates for a professional appearance. Additionally, you can track your funnel's performance with built-in analytics to continually optimize your results. Ready to scale your business? Click the link in the description to get started. Chapter 4. Nestlé and the claim in Ethiopia. In 2002, Nestlé filed a claim against the Ethiopian government for approximately $6 million, seeking compensation for the expropriation of its assets nationalized in 1975 during the Derg regime. This expropriation was part of a broader process of nationalizing foreign properties. After the regime's collapse in 1991, the new government led by Meles Zenawi continued with nationalization policies, but adopted a more pragmatic approach toward foreign investments. Nestlé sought to recover the assets and compensation since the fall of the previous regime, leading to a formal claim. In 2002, with Ethiopia facing a severe humanitarian crisis due to famine and drought, Nestlé's demand was seen as insensitive, provoking a strong international reaction. The claimed amount was not only difficult to obtain, but also represented a significant sum that could have been a great help to people in critical health and need. In response to the criticism, Nestlé eventually agreed to a settlement of $1.5 million, committed to being used for humanitarian aid and long-term development efforts in Ethiopia. Chapter 5. Nestlé and child labor exploitation. Nestlé, along with other chocolate-producing companies like Mars and Cadbury, has faced serious accusations of child labor exploitation in their cocoa supply chains. These allegations came to light during a controversy referred to as the Blood Cocoa Scandal. It was alleged that these companies were involved in unfair labor practices, including child labor on cocoa plantations. Investigations revealed that children as young as 8 years old were working under precarious conditions on cocoa plantations supplying these companies. Various non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and human rights groups mobilized to verify these claims. Reports from these organizations confirm the presence of children on the plantations, working long hours in harsh and dangerous conditions. In response to these accusations, Nestlé, Mars, and other companies committed to improving their practices and ensuring their supply chains are free from child labor. Nestlé and Mars implemented monitoring and certification programs to ensure that suppliers adhere to ethical labor standards. Despite these efforts, the effectiveness of the measures taken has been debated. Organizations will continue to closely monitor practices in the cocoa industry to ensure workers' rights are respected and child labor is eradicated from the supply chain. Chapter 6. Nestlé Today. Today, Nestlé remains a leading company in the food industry, but its path is filled with challenges. Facing an increasingly complex business environment, the company has embarked on an ambitious transformation process to align its operations with the growing demands for sustainability and ethics. Nestlé has launched significant initiatives, such as eliminating single-use plastics and adopting sustainable practices in its supply chains, aiming to reduce its environmental footprint and respond to consumer pressure for more responsible products. However, despite these efforts, the company is not without controversy. The transition towards greater transparency and responsibility remains a challenge, with persistent criticisms reflecting the difficulty of balancing growth and profitability with a renewed focus on business ethics and sustainability. In a constantly changing world, Nestlé continues to adapt and face challenges, seeking not only to meet current expectations but also to anticipate future ones on its path to becoming a more ethical and sustainable operation. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel.